We all know every student deserves to feel safe at school. But what does that actually mean? Today, we're going to look at the blueprint for creating schools where everyone, and I mean everyone, can truly thrive. We'll break down what psychological safety is and what it really looks like day to day. So, let's just start with this question. If I asked you to picture a truly safe school, what pops into your head? Is it just about, physical security? Or is there something deeper, something much more fundamental to creating a space where you can actually learn and be yourself? Okay, so this is really the heart of it. Psychological safety is an environment where you are treated with dignity, where harmful stuff is dealt with early, not just swept under the rug. It's a place where you won't get punished for speaking up and where the adults in charge actually listen before they jump to conclusions. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by looking beyond just physical safety. Then, we'll dive into the three main pillars that hold this whole idea up. We'll talk about what this safety actually feels like for you, the student, cover the super important role of adults, and then wrap up with what this is all about, your right to learn. Okay, first up, let's tackle a really common misconception. When we talk about safety, it's so easy to imagine this perfect, conflict-free bubble. But that's not what this is about. Not at all. Yeah, and this slide just lays it out so clearly. A psychologically safe school isn't some fantasy land with zero conflict or where everyone has to be best friends. It's a place with good systems in place. It's about respecting differences and dealing with harm right away, remembering that safety isn't just physical. It's emotional, it's social, and yeah, it's digital too. So if we're going to build this kind of environment, how do we actually do it? Well, the whole framework really rests on three core pillars. Think of them like the main support beams for the entire structure. And here they are. First, you've got respectful behavior. That's the foundation. Second, there's early support. That's all about being proactive, catching things before they get big. And third, safe communication pathways. Think of these as the clear, well-lit escape hatches everyone knows how to find when they need help. So let's dig into pillar one, respectful behavior. This is really the bedrock. It's about creating a culture where humiliating someone is just not okay, where being different is seen as a strength, not a reason to be left out. It's pretty simple. Aggression gets addressed, and the rules are there to protect everybody's dignity. Now, pillar two is where we get proactive. It's all about early support. This means dealing with problems before they have a chance to grow and fester. It means you have adults who are actively listening, who are paying attention to the social stuff going on, and who get one crucial fact. Helping early is always, always better than punishing late. And that leads us right into our final pillar, which is just so crucial. Safe communication pathways. Look, it's not enough for adults to just say, my door is always open. You, the student, need to know exactly who to talk to, how to report something, and feel confident that you'll be kept safe after you do. If that clarity isn't there, the whole system just breaks down. Okay, so we've talked about the architecture, the how, but what does this actually feel like from the inside? What's the day-to-day experience for a student in a school like this? Well, it feels like you can ask a question in class without worrying about sounding stupid. It feels like knowing that if you report something that's wrong, you're going to be heard and protected. At its core, it's the freedom to learn without being afraid, to feel included, and to be respected even when you don't agree with someone. These aren't just nice-to-haves, they're essential for real learning to happen. I really want you to hear this next part. Let it land. You do not need to be popular to be safe. Safety isn't some prize for being well-liked. It's a fundamental right that belongs to every single person in that building. Of course, you're not expected to build this whole thing by yourselves. So let's talk about the role of the adults, the architects who are responsible for designing and maintaining this safe space. And this is such a key thing to remember. Young people are developing humans. You're still learning the ropes, figuring out social rules, how to manage big emotions, and how to navigate disagreements. And that's exactly why an adult's job isn't just to punish, but to guide you through that learning process. And that's why this has to be a partnership. It really is a shared responsibility between the adults you have at home and the adults you have at school. When they're on the same page and working together, that entire structure we've been talking about becomes so much stronger. All right, this brings us to our final and, honestly, most important section. This is a message directly for you, for every student listening. This is all about empowerment. It's about knowing your rights. Let's start with the most basic one. You are allowed to learn. That's the whole point of school. And anything that gets in the way of that right needs to be addressed, period. Second, you are allowed to grow. And that means you need the space to make mistakes, to change your mind, to figure out who you are. Real growth can't happen in an environment of constant fear or judgment. And finally, please remember this. You are allowed to ask for help. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength and incredible self-awareness. It might just be the smartest and bravest thing you can do. So I want to leave you with this one final thought. Real safety isn't about silence, where problems just get buried and ignored. Real safety is about freedom. The freedom to learn, the freedom to grow, and the freedom to speak without being afraid. That's the goal. And it's a goal worth building together.